The Tower's meaning. Dark and foreboding, the Tower is the embodiment of disruption and conflict. Not just change, but the abrupt and jarring movement caused by the unforeseen and traumatic events which are part of life. The Tower in your spread is always a threat, but life inevitably involves tragedy, and you must decide whether you will face it with grace. It is likely that some people/situations that you have counted on as being there for you may no longer be there in quite the same way. This doesn't have to be dire. Change is the nature of life, and trying to prevent it is like trying to row upstream without a paddle. If you have been building castles in the air, this may be the time that some of them come crashing down to earth. That's only a problem if you let it be. You will be able to replace them with some more realistic and reachable dreams and goals if some fantasies fall apart this month. Dreaming is important, but it's also important to be living in reality too. You will get through this time just fine, particularly if you remember that you have all the resources you need, already inside you, to deal with life and to do what you need to do. Past. To make room for the new, the old must be destroyed. The ambitions that you have been following are built on weak foundations and offer false rewards. Present. A conflict is coming to a head in your life. Relationships will need to be re-evaluated and restructured in order to maintain. Future. By withstanding the coming challenges, your future will be bright. Seeing things as you want them to be in order to make them become that way. Knowing the worst is behind you can give strength. The Tower is all about unexpected events and changes coming up in your life. However, the changes are along the lines of something catastrophic, disastrous, and overall negative. It could be related to some sort of accident, disaster, or damage to another area of your life. The answer provided by this card is no. Work. The energy of this time lends itself toward arguments. Try to keep your temper under control, and not take everything that others say to heart too much. Sudden reversals can happen now. This is not an indicator that you need to panic. It is, however, an indicator that forewarned is forearmed. Even if you think that you have the most stable job or sources of income in the world, what would you do if it dried up tomorrow? Where might you go immediately for work if you needed to? Thinking things through now, when you are not in a crisis, may pay big dividends for you on down the road. If you hate your job, give serious thought to making a change. You deserve to be happy. Love, this can be, but is not necessarily, an indicator of a relationship that is about to end. If you are in a relationship that you absolutely, positively, don't want to see end, this is an important time for damage control and for clear communications. Find out how your partner is feeling/doing. Don't make assumptions. Find out for sure. Finances. This is not a time for risky investments, gambling, or counting on the lottery to make things work out for you. Even if you know the news will not be easy to stomach, find out exactly what you are dealing with financially. It may not be as bad as you think. It is certain, however, that you aren't making anything any better by avoiding the issues. Deal with any problems in a straightforward manner. Health. Paying attention to what you are doing is critical now. Be careful. Your nerves may be frayed. Do whatever you need to do to calm down and stay steady. Exercise can help with this. If you know what you're doing, and know about your allergies, and your doctor approves, consider trying relaxing herbs. Careful with drugs and alcohol now, if you use any. Spirituality. This is a time again to keep a positive attitude as much as possible. New understandings and insights may come to you in the blink of an eye. Playing cards first entered Europe in the late 14th century, most likely from Mamluk Egypt, with suits of batons or polo sticks, coins, swords, and cups. These suits were very similar to modern tarot divination decks and are still used in traditional Italian, Spanish and Portuguese playing card decks. The first documented tarot packs were recorded between 1440 and 1450 in Milan, Ferrara, Florence, and Bologna, when additional trump cards with allegorical illustrations were added to the common four-suit pack. These new decks were called Carte de Triomphe, triumph cards, and the additional cards known simply as Triomphi, which became trumps in English. The earliest documentation of Triomphi is found in a written statement in the court records of Florence, in 1440, regarding the transfer of two decks to Sigismondo Pandolfo Malatesta. The oldest surviving tarot cards are the 15 or so Visconti Sforza tarot decks painted in the mid-15th century for the rulers of the Duchy of Milan. A lost tarot-like pack was commissioned by Duke Filippo Maria Visconti and described by Marciano da Tortona probably between 1418 and 1425, since the painter he mentions, Michelino da Bisazzo, returned to Milan in 1418, while Marciano himself died in 1425. He described a 60-card deck with 16 cards having images of the Greek gods and suits depicting 4 kinds of birds. The 16 cards were regarded as trumps since in 1449 Jacopo Antonio Marcello recalled that the now deceased Duke had invented a novum quadam et exquisitum triumphorum genus, or a new and exquisite kind of triumphs. Other early decks that also showcased classical motifs include the Solabusca and Boiardo Viti decks of the 1490s. In Florence, an expanded deck called Minchiate was used. This deck of 97 cards includes astrological symbols and the 4 elements, as well as traditional tarot motifs. Although a Dominican preacher inveighed against the evil inherent in cards in a sermon in the 15th century, no routine condemnations of tarot were found during its early history. Because the earliest tarot cards were hand-painted, the number of the decks produced is thought to have been small. It was only after the invention of the printing press that mass production of cards became possible. The expansion of tarot outside of Italy, first to France and Switzerland, occurred during the Italian Wars. The most important tarot pattern used in these two countries was the Tarot of Marseilles of Milanese origin.